Hello everyone, intuitive and astrologer Lisa Salvatore here to talk to you about the first half of August, the intuitive astrology and energies of the first half of August, leading up to and including the Aquarius full moon that we have taking place on August 9th. Buckle up, there is a lot going on all of August, but specifically in the first half. For those that might not know me, I am Lisa Salvatore. I am an intuitive. I am an astrologer. Yes, I am also clairvoyant. So while astrology is all about potential, probability, and possibility, there is also a predictive element to it. And so as I go through the charts, as I sit down and I go through the charts, and I actually then will channel and I will receive information about what is coming up, and I will share whatever it is that I receive that I feel is very pertinent to share. So like I always say, take what resonates, throw away what does not. And if you are new here, welcome. It is lovely to have you here. For my subscribers and members, you will also be getting the August readings for each sign through the signs. So stay tuned for that. And the second half of August will be out a little bit after the first or second week of August. Let's get right down to it. August is sizzling, and not just from the heat. We are in some seriously crunchy cosmic territory this month. Key words for August are crisis, clarity, consciousness, competition, but also the potential for collaboration and cooperation. As always, it is how we work with the energies. That is where the magic lies. That is where the growth is. And that is where the change, the positive change can happen. We are deep in Leo season as we start the month. And if you've been feeling the heat emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, you are not alone. August is a month that demands courage, composure, and most importantly, heart-centered awareness. Popcorn is optional, but self-awareness, mandatory. Now let's take a look at the energies for the first half of August. I love to use imagery to encapsulate the vibe. Here's just all of my links are in the description box below, so I'm not going to waste time on this. I've got a lot of paid and free tutorials and content to support you on your astrological journey. So definitely check all of that out, description box below, and also on my website, lisasalvatore.com. The quote that I have channeled for the month of August, and again, remember, even though this reading is for the first half of August, this encapsulates the whole entire month. August demands clarity, not chaos. Let the tension sharpen your truth, not steal your peace. We start the month off, we're still under the energy of the Mercury Cazimi, which was exact on July 31st. So we start the month off, August 1st, the Sun and Mercury quite close, and the Moon is in Scorpio. This has the potential for some serious eye-opening aha moments. Clarity, this can even come in through the dream space, especially. Our third eye can feel wide open, very open. Put the pen to the paper, take out your phone, voice record. Insights will likely be coming in quickly. At the same time, just pay attention and be very aware that we are under a quite crunchy Mercury retrograde energy along with everything else that's going on in the background. But there is also potential for, like I said, a lot of clarity. This Mercury retrograde is not shy. It's fiery, it's loud, and it's quite confrontational at times. I'm sure you're already experiencing this since the middle of July, if not earlier, as Mercury has been in its pre-retrograde shadow since the very end of June. We're also dealing with an opposition of Pluto to Mercury. We're looking at big reveals and powerful truths bubbling up from beneath the surface. I did say that this Mercury retrograde through Leo had the potential to be messy and dramatic with a lot of secrets being revealed. Case in point, have you seen the viral video of the CEO of Astronomer and the HR chair, I believe? They've been having an affair, and they got caught at the Coldplay concert of all places on the Jumbotron. Being at a concert, music, that's very Leo. Being very bold and brazen out in public like that, canoodling at a concert, that is also very Leo, by way in which we could be too much in our pride and ego that we're not thinking about anybody else in that moment. It's also very public, on display, spotlight, Leo. Theatrical, dramatic, look at all that has ensued from that video, from that real situation that was caught on camera in a very public way. Again, Leo. I'd love to see their charts, but I digress. And another layer to that onion, the company that they work for, Astronomer, is a communication flow company. Mercury, communication, information, data. Could this get any more Mercury retrograde messy in Leo than that? Oh, the drama. I feel sorry for all involved, but this is a theme right now, especially as we move into August, and even more so as we build up towards that full moon in Aquarius on August 9th, but we'll get to that. So with all of the reveals that could be coming up, this can be liberating or this can be overwhelming. It can also be both. This is all very dependent on how we hold ourselves through it, through things that are going on. The invitation for August and for always is to be a responder versus being a reactor. Let the pause guide you, not the panic. August 1st through the 2nd to just only further increase and amplify these themes of reveals, illusion, delusion, potential deceit, seeing things one way and that's not really the picture. We've got Venus at 1 degree of Cancer in an exact square with both Saturn and Neptune. If you are someone who is strongly cardinal, which means you've got strong placements between 0 and 2 degrees of any of our cardinal signs, which again are Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, Aries, what I'm about to say is even more potent for you. If you are being deceived in some capacity, you may get some glimmers into that. If you are, however, the deceiver, it could go the opposite way. So just be very mindful of your movements, your thoughts, your actions, your energy. August 3rd through the 16th, we've got Uranus now at 1 degree of Gemini in an exact sextile to Saturn at 1 degree of 1 degree of Aries. This is actually a really nice energy to have. It's in the background, okay? So it's guiding us spiritually, because that's how the outer planets work. So these energies are guiding us, divinely guiding us in the background through all of the noise. And we may not even always notice it, but this is just something that can help to smooth out the terrain and can bring us into bigger picture thinking, unconventional wisdom, a stronger vision for our future, the ability and the capacity to see, the forest through the trees and coming up with ways to make very positive and productive changes in our lives. Light bulb moments, beautiful new ideas, new ways of working through existing challenges, all very supported under this Uranus-Saturn sextile. Also, August 3rd, we've got a nice aspect between Uranus and the North Node in Pisces. It's the quintile aspect, or other words, a 72-degree aspect. And this is all about igniting your inner genius. The quintile aspects work like this creative talent that we have, that we hold. It's bringing it forward. The energy is really ramped up. This is fabulous for new ideas. This is great for business. But we have to remember Mercury's retrograde, so we got to watch out for all the dramatics. August 6th, Mars will enter Libra, and Mars will remain in Libra until September 22nd. And this goes back to what I said at the beginning about the conflict, the chaos, the cooperation, the competition, with the potential opportunity for cohesion. Mars is in its exile in the sign of Libra. Mars does not favor Libra. The warrior, the god of action, the one who doesn't wait, enters diplomatic Libra and doesn't really know where to go because there's decisions here. You can't just act. You have to stop, you have to think it through, you have to weigh all of the options, and that can feel very frustrating for Mars energy. Mars in Libra can really go one of two ways. On the higher end, we may feel a genuine desire for cooperation, collaboration, peace. There could be a willingness to find common ground and move forward together, both in our personal lives and out there in the world, on the world stage. But let's be real, Mars is not entirely comfortable here in the sign of Libra. So while the intention may be peace, the execution might get tangled in passive-aggressive tendencies or performative politeness, which is undoubtedly the shadow end to Libra energy. And remember, we all have Libra somewhere in our chart, so there's no judgment attached to this. It's an invitation to check in with yourself, especially in regards to your relationships, and ask yourself, am I compromising? Or am I abandoning myself? Really, really important. And also, can we truly find harmony, or are we just avoiding confrontation? Because confrontation is necessary at times. It can be very constructive when handled properly. And that's where we can use the higher vibration energies of that Libra side, which is diplomacy and tact, grace, compromise. We can kind of feel all over the place with that. And I also just want to pull focus back to our cardinal signs, Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, Libra, and especially, like I said, 0 to 4 degrees will be the hot spot there. But especially if you're around 1 or 2 degrees of any of those cardinal signs, that could be if your sun falls there, your moon, your ascendant, especially your Mars, your Venus, etc. just be very mindful, be very cautious. This is not to fearmonger. This is not to scare you. This does not mean that anything bad is going to happen, right? Because remember, it's all about possibility, probability, and potential. It's what you make of these energies and how you work with it. So forewarned is forearmed, like I always say. Awareness is key. Just know that if you fall under those cardinal energies and in that degree patch that I just mentioned, you want to be extra cautious, conscious, careful of your movements, especially anything that has to do with your head. Okay, this is not the time to, decide you want to go skydiving in this little corner. I wouldn't do it, okay? It's not really the time to take a big risk when it comes to your body, okay, to the physicality. Just be very cautious, be very mindful. Doesn't mean anything bad's gonna happen. It's just a hot spot for you right now. And sometimes frustration can then lead to impulsivity. When we're sitting with Mars and Libra, it's hard to take action sometimes. And then you may act impulsively, and there you go. You're going to be in the lower end of those energies that I just mentioned, with potential to hurt yourself or, God forbid, someone else. So just be mindful. Awareness goes a long way. On the world stage, everything is heating up. We've got Mercury opposing Pluto. We've got secrets coming up, secrets being revealed. I definitely feel like there's going to be a lot more coming out on the Diddy trial, or on what happened with Diddy, and also the Epstein files. And I also feel that there's going to be somebody in a high-ranking position in the legal field, whether that's a judge, whether that's a court officer, whether that's a lawyer, I'm not sure. But I will tell you that somebody is going to be revealed as being the complete opposite of who they really or what they are showing us to be out in the world. I got that very strongly. I have no idea who it is. It just felt like it was somebody in the legal system who's involved in justice, for others. And meanwhile, justice might have to be served toward them. August 7th through the 9th, we've got Mars in a trine to Uranus. This is great mental energy, air energy, Mars in Libra, Uranus in Gemini. Fabulous for conversations, fabulous for our intellectual capacity and capability. This is great for editing, revising, which is also great under a Mercury retrograde. Just a little extra intellectual mental juice here. August 8th to the 13th, I have this flagged as a trying period, so take heed, especially the cardinal energies, okay? Sorry to keep stressing that, but I want to drive that point home. Mars will be in opposition with Neptune and Saturn. You really want to watch out. Everybody, collectively speaking, head on a swivel. I would probably be staying away from large crowds during this time period. There is going to be a lot going on, and it can all happen quite quickly at the drop of a dime. So you just want to watch out and not take unnecessary risks, especially when it has to do with your health, with your body. Remember, when Mars is in Libra, the warrior wants peace, but they may not have what it takes, or they might not do what it takes, I should say, to bring that forth, to bring the peace forward. So this is just crunchy energy here. This is really crunchy. And there's definitely going to be a reveal of documents and information. And trust me, you didn't see this one coming. I got that very clearly. And this could land for you personally. Like, this could even be like a situation that, for example, just displayed publicly with the astronomer, CEO, and HR person. It could be something like that, but it might involve people that you work with or people that you're connected to or that you know of. So this could be, scandals coming to the light, what's done in the dark coming to the light. You could see this playing out in your reality somehow. It might not be you, but just people or situations that are connected to you. That's why I said get the popcorn ready. During this corner, I was also picking up on eruptions of all kinds, but specifically I was picking up on volcanic. We've had quite a bit of volcanic activity, but I was specifically picking up on Mount Vesuvius. So if you're around there, take care. And I was specifically picking up for that for the middle of August, in that chunk of time that I just spoke about, which is the 8th through the 13th. The 9th through the 11th, we've got Mars in Libra in a trine to Pluto in Aquarius. This is a theme of resurrection, things coming back up, things coming back to life or coming to life, for better or worse. Is it conflict? Is it chaos? Is it cooperation? Is it competition? Who knows? This is actually a really good energy for financial investments, FYI. Anything you have involved with others, with institutions, just check all of that out. We'll feel much more focused under these energies as well. August 11th, asteroid Ceres stations retrograde at 16 degrees and 48 minutes of Aries. And Ceres will be retrograde until November 21st. So that's a significant chunk of time here. And, Ceres acts like a second moon in a lot of ways in our charts and in our lives, because Ceres is all about nurturance. Ceres is the goddess of crops, grains, and agriculture. It's also the goddess of nurturance, what we do to feel nurtured, what nurtures our soul, what nourishes us also, both physically and emotionally. While Ceres is retrograde, there's definitely going to be a lot of talk on the food supply, on crops, on soil, wetness, a lot of water here, water potentially ruining crops. And there's going to be something here about Europe too with their distribution of wheat. So we're likely going to see new contracts being formed and or signed, tariffs involved here, a lot surrounding the crops in Europe. I'm jumping around here. But let's also go back a moment to August 9th because we are going to have a full moon in Aquarius. And this lunation, this full moon, like all full moons, are a cosmic checkpoint. It's a time to take spiritual inventory. And this Aquarius full moon is all about detachment from the drama. Remember, the opposite sign of Aquarius is Leo, where the sun is. This is how we have a full moon, sun and moon in exact opposition. So the sun is in Leo, the sign of drama, theatrics. Aquarius is the opposite sign. And Aquarius is probably the sign of all 12 zodiac signs that can be the most detached, cool, and aloof. That's not a negative thing either because we all have Aquarius somewhere and we all need to practice the art of detachment quite often, especially the more emotional you are. This full moon, Aquarius energy tends to see things from a more logical perspective, a higher vantage point, a more objective perspective. It's about being cool and calm and clear. It's not about turning your back on anything. It's more about gaining clarity so that you can move forward with integrity. Let the emotions rise, and they will, but let your discernment lead. And to bring it back to the positive for a moment, remember that the outer planets are all harmonizing with each other right now. They're harmonizing quietly in the background. And what they're doing is they're sending us subtle, intuitive nudges and soul whispers. That is how the outer planets operate. Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. Even and especially when the path feels murky, the universe is guiding you back to truth. Before we get to the full moon chart, what's the soul advice for the first half of August? Speak with intention, act with integrity, let what's leaving leave, and trust that clarity will come, but not without contrast. Take it slow, let it go, ease and flow. That is the mantra for the first half of August. Actually, that was my tagline for last week's podcast, which, by the way, again, if you become a soul scriber, you have access to my weekly live streams where I give the astrology and the energies for the upcoming week. Linked in description box below. Now let's get to that full moon. The Aquarius full moon takes place on August 9th at 3:55 a.m. Eastern Time. That's 12:55 a.m. Pacific time and 8:55 a.m. UK time. Of course, adjust the time zone accordingly for where you are in the world. We see here that we've got the sun at 16 degrees and 59 minutes of Leo, directly opposite. The moon here at 16 degrees and 59 minutes of Aquarius, which is how we have our full moon. Full moons are going to always pull up the oppositional energies. What has been shaded by the sun is now being illuminated by the light of the moon. Where we have been blinded is becoming more obvious, especially as we now have Mars here at 1 degree of Libra in exact opposition to Saturn and Neptune. The rose-colored glasses could really come off here. Something can come in or come through that fixes our vision, that corrects a thought pattern, or brings a heightened awareness to a situation that we otherwise might not have noticed. I'd like to note that because this moon is at 16 degrees of Aquarius, this is in what we call the second decan of Aquarius, or the second third. This gives this full moon a strong Gemini flare, a strong mercurial flare, because Mercury rules Gemini. And guess what? Mercury is here stationary, getting ready to station direct just a couple of days after this full moon, which means that Mercury is talking. Mercury's opposing Pluto, dredging things up, resurrecting things from underneath the surface, resurrecting what has been buried. That could be positive, but again, that could also be not so positive. So this brings it back to, is it chaotic? Is it about conflict? Or is it about clarity? Or all of the above? We have to watch our tempers here. This is like that kapow energy. I'm telling you, there's just going to be so much coming out. And a lot of it will be shocking. A lot of words, a lot of information, but remember that Mercury can also be a trickster, so we have to use our discernment all the time. We've got a really nice grand air trine present at this full moon. We've got Uranus at 1 degree of Gemini, trining Mars exact at 1 degree of Libra, trining Pluto here at 2 degrees of Aquarius, and then Pluto trining back to Uranus. This is the support of these planets with Mars. So we have the ability to take action, but with Mars in Libra, it can feel just a little bit thwarted. So this is where I would say be a responder, not a reactor. Be an observer, not an absorber, and really think things through. We've got Venus and Jupiter here moving into an exact alignment, which is super sweet, super supportive for communications and relationships and just joy and benevolence. But we have to remain mindful of it because with Neptune opposing Mars, the love bubble can be burst. Keep going back to that Coldplay concert because there couldn't have been a stronger depiction of these energies as they were approaching, at least something that played out so publicly, I should say, than what just occurred with that situation. And if you didn't see it, you should Google it. We've got the moon aligned with Pallas Athene, goddess Pallas Athene, asteroid Pallas. This is fabulous for new and unconventional ideas. This full moon also brings forth this energy of like the mad scientist, the creative genius. Like we're in the laboratory of life, always tinkering with new ideas and looking for ways to shake up the status quo somehow. Pallas aligned with the moon in Aquarius just amplifies this tendency. So we could feel like our intellect is really heightened, especially if you have a lot of Aquarius in your chart. And a lot of this is a very strong energy of investigation also, which I think is absolutely adding to a lot of these big reveals and the resurrection of information. It's a very interesting dynamic. The moon represents our intuition and our emotional nature, and then Pallas is the asteroid of wisdom and strategy. So this is a blending of these energies in opposition to the sun, so this can either help us to shine or it can throw us in the shade. But it is a very innovative intellectual energy to add to this full moon. Very minor, but the moon is in a semi-sextile to the North Node, which is just another amplification of the fact that we are fast-tracking to our destiny, even when we feel like we're taking a different route than anticipated. Expect to pivot somehow, whether it's in the mind, whether it's in the body, whether it's in the spirit. The moon is also in an exact sextile over here to Ceres. Ceres getting ready to station retrograde. This is where we can hear a lot involving crops, grains, agriculture, women's rights even, motherhood. These areas could come under focus for you personally under this full moon. It's important to remember to maintain objectivity. That's one of the gifts of Aquarius energy, especially in the midst of all of this heightened emotional energy. You can see here we have a mystic rectangle present. You can see the chart shape. You can see the pattern. We've got Neptune and Saturn in opposition to Mars. We've got Mars in this sextile over here to Mercury. Mercury trining Saturn and Neptune. Which, by the way, I'm going to bring it back to the Coldplay incident. Oh my gosh, I can't stop talking about this, but it's such a good example. Not to make somebody else's, drama and trauma an example, but it's just the truth and it was public. Mercury retrograde in a trine to Saturn and Neptune. Could we say, or could we see how that public display could have been, of course, shameful for all involved on the receiving end of the affair? In other words, the wife and husband of the other two, the spouses of the two that were caught, that were carrying on having an affair. Could we not say that Mercury retrograde here in Leo is supporting them by giving them this information, which cleared their vision, which maybe they knew, who knows? They might have had an idea, they might have had an inkling, but to have it play out so publicly, I mean, sure, that can be really embarrassing, but also Saturn and Neptune are at 1 degree of Aries. So this is very indicative of new beginnings and owning your authority. Think about what we've been talking about for the last few years and few months, especially as Saturn and Neptune entered Aries. So information coming in that clears your vision, but might reveal deceit. An illusion could be shattered, but it could be very well for the better. Back to that mystic rectangle, then we have Saturn and Neptune over here sextiling Pluto, and then Pluto trining back to Mars. And then obviously the sun-moon opposition. That brings in this mystic rectangle. Now, having this mystic rectangle present is just another reminder of the strong, intuitive, divine energies working in the background, like an invisible hand guiding us forward. Intuition really speaking to us and through us. And to further that, we've got fixed star Rotanev, exactly aligned with this full moon in Aquarius. Now, fixed star Rotanev is in the constellation Delphinius, located in the head of the dolphin. Now, this is the thing. Dolphins have sonar. That's how they operate, right? That's how they communicate, through sonar. They emit those high-frequently clicking sounds that bounce off of objects. And this is how they interpret or understand like the shape and the size and the distance and the structures and everything else. This allows them to see in murky or darker water where their vision is limited. So now think about how that applies to us here with all that we're talking about. We have to rely on our sonar. We're not dolphins, but we have to rely on our intuition, our sonar. We have the reliance of the outer planets helping us here. And the constellation of Delphinius, by the way, is very Neptunian, very involved with Neptune. To add another layer to, with Neptune, we either get the beautiful picture or we get the nightmare. All of this to say, there's a factual, direct energy to this full moon where information is coming through, and it can almost be coming through like in a very cold, direct, logical manner, but it's exactly what's necessary and needed to guide you forward. There's nothing warm and fuzzy about this Aquarius full moon, even though there are very big emotions present in the background. The moon itself, the energies themselves are not really warm and fuzzy. They're actually quite cool and maybe even a little bit detached, but I think that's a good thing because it helps us to see more clearly. It can give us the ability to toughen up in an area where we might not normally be so tough, where we might be more tender. It's very strong on objective reasoning. The tarot card associated with this full moon is the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is about moving forward, moving out of something that could have been a mental prison, moving away from something or someone, not emotionally, because we're dealing with swords energy. It's more of the intellectual, mental level. And even though if you look at this card, the figures look a little forlorn, you can kind of sense that energy, like they're moving away from something and there is a sense of sadness attached to it. But at the same time, you could also argue that there isn't. The power of the mind. That can also bring forth the power of the spirit. You don't realize how strong you are until being strong is the only option. Moving forward with grace, with love, with compassion. The Six of Swords offers us the ability to detach and move away from something or someone that is not serving us, that is not working for us. And reminder, the tarot card that rules Aquarius is the Star. The Star is all about healing and rejuvenation. It's a star about pouring back into the earth, into the universe, pouring back spiritually. Taking what we need and then pouring back. This is the water bearer energy of Aquarius. Remember, stars can also be distant though, right? If we see the stars in the night sky, we can't touch them, but we can see them and they're beautiful and they shine and they twinkle, as do we all. And even if it takes time, and even if it's a little bit out in the distance and it's not quite right now, the Six of Swords is telling us that we're moving forward toward the healing that we need, the healing that is necessary. Full moons are also about letting go, right? So this is a point of release. Resurrection with everything going on under this full moon, and then release. That's going to be different for everybody depending on your own unique birth chart and what you've got going on in your reality. So now let's talk about where this full moon will land for you by your sign. And as I always suggest, follow your rising sign for most accuracy. Of course, you can follow your sun sign and your moon sign if you know it. You can always pull up your birth chart fast and free right on my website, lisasalvatore.com. You just scroll down and click on free birth chart and note your rising sign. That's what I'm talking about. There's also a free downloadable guide for the houses through the birth chart linked in the description box below to help you out. And you will find that the energies will likely be already manifesting in these areas of your life by accordance to your rising sign, your ascendant. So if you're an Aries rising, this full moon is illuminating your 11th house of friends and groups that you're a part of, networks, online communities are included in that. It's also the home, the house of your hopes and your dreams and your aspirations. It's a connected space of the chart. It's very connected. So you could expect some reveals in these areas of life. Taurus, this is your 10th house. This is taking place in your 10th house of career, public image, vocation, your reputation, how you're known out in the world, what you're known for, your public roles, the balance between your work life, your home life, because full moons are always about the balance. For Gemini, this full moon is taking place in your 9th house of expansion, the higher mind, higher learning, spirituality, faith, education, also travel, specifically long distance travel. You may want to travel, but you aren't able to right now, for example. Cancer, this is your 8th house of very intimate matters, finances, intimacy in general, sex, death, taxes, inheritances. It's about our grief. For Leo rising, this full moon is going to take place in your 7th house of relationships, contracts, negotiations, and agreements. It's the space in the chart that talks about the opposite of you. It's the others in your life. It could even be the other side of you, the other viewpoint. Virgo, this is your 6th house of home, health, the hearth, mind, body, spirit, service, what you do on the day-to-day that supports your system or works against it, illumination under these areas of life for you, and letting go of what does not serve. Libra, this is taking place in your 5th house of children, creative projects, sports, hobbies, speculative endeavors, romance, pleasure, joy. You can expect some illumination around these areas of life. Scorpio, this full moon is lighting up your 4th house of home and family and foundation. This is about your private life. This is about what goes on behind closed doors or how you feel about that. There could be a strong focus on family dynamics, private matters, and the balance between what's public and what's very personal. For Sagittarius rising, this full moon is lighting up your 3rd house of communication and expression, your voice out in the world, the way that you communicate, the way that you connect to your community. In fact, this full moon could focus on siblings or cousins, neighbors even, those that you're connected to on the daily. Colleagues could factor in here as well. Capricorn rising, this is your 2nd house of money and worth, self-esteem, what you value, the way that you connect to all that you value, and your relationship with self. Check in with that. Aquarius rising, this is your full moon. It is your 1st house. It is your body. It is your mind. It is your spirit. It is everything. It's your very essence. It's the way you are out in the world. It's what you would like to be known. It's how you are known. Think about like you're changing the cover of your book. You have the opportunity to change the cover of your book or to at least have people view it in a different color. Release what's not serving and move in towards what is. Pisces rising, this full moon takes place in the 12th house, the behind the scenes, unconscious areas of your psyche, of yourself, of your soul. Lots of intuitive hits around this full moon for you. It could feel hyper emotional, and you may want to stay in soul solitude, but there's lots of reflection and opportunity for awareness, healing, and growth. There was just a quick summary of where this full moon will land for you according to your rising sign. So set some intentions, do some quiet reflection. Feel free to use my guided full moon meditation below. My soul scribers receive guided rituals and meditations for each lunation. Again, I'll have that at the end of this video if you'd like to know more about that, or it's linked in the description box below. The mantra again for August, take it slow, let it go, ease and flow. I will be back soon with part 2 of your August forecast. But in the meantime, let me know in the comments how you're moving through this energy. What's surfacing for you? Where are you being called to slow down or to stand up? And if you missed the Leo new moon reading or the 2nd half of July, because remember, it's often more insightful and impactful to look back after the energies have passed to see where it has all landed for you and how to integrate. Also, I've got a Mercury retrograde reading in there. Just check the links in the description box to catch up. Take really good care of yourselves, be well, and I'll be back soon, sending you all the love, all the good vibes, all the blessings. Bye. Hello, everyone. Warm wishes for a happy and healthy 2025. I am so excited to be here with all of you, all of my beautiful subscribers, and to continue to put out supportive content. I will continue to give you astrological and intuitive updates. My channel will not be changing. I will be doing new moon and full moon readings along with some insights through the signs, monthly astrological and energetic updates, astrology updates overall, and some more how-to videos, readings on current events, etc. None of that will change. That will all still be here on my channel, but I am excited to roll out a few new options for 2025. Here on YouTube, I now have a membership. That membership is $7.99 a month. You do not have to join the membership, but you can if you want to. And what that membership encompasses is obviously all of the general free content that is out there and will continue to be out there, but with more exclusive content. So every Sunday, I go live and I give the astrological and energetic forecast for the upcoming week. And we have some spiritual chit chat there. There's a live chat. Now that is going to be sent to you with the YouTube membership by recording. If you wanted to be a part of the live stream, I have another subscription, which is based on Substack, which is where I have my newsletter and where I am the most interactive. And that will also be linked in the description box below if you're interested in that. But the Substack membership is $10 a month, okay, to be transparent, or $100 per year. And every Sunday, I do go live and I give the astrological and energetic update and forecast. And it's, like I said, it's interactive and I answer questions. And then monthly, I do a live Zoom where I go into more details for each month, readings through the signs. And in those monthly lives, there's also the opportunity to be read, both astrologically and psychically, combination of the two. That is with my Substack subscription. That is with my newsletter subscription, to be clear. The YouTube subscription, the one that is $7.99 a month, you will get the recordings of everything that I do on my Substack newsletter. To join the YouTube subscription, all you have to do is go right to my homepage and just click join. And once again, thank you to all of my amazing subscribers. I'm so thankful and grateful to each and every one of you. I'm also grateful that I get to provide this content, and I really hope that it supports you on your spiritual journey.